Wednesday. We're going to be going through some 4th of July recipes with you guys today. Just some things that we thought were delicious and incorporated kind of some fun concepts of the holiday and are relatively healthy. So.
All right.
Yes.
So we're going to start with our red, white, and blue steak salad.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to start by marinating the steak. We have a flank steak here that you can't see. And to start this off, we are going to use 6 ounces of blueberries, about 3 cloves of garlic, some thyme. We're going to pull it off the stem here real quick.
And fresh thyme is really fragrant. We recommend you use fresh herbs as opposed to dried herbs because you're just going to get a better flavor profile out of them.
We have our vinegar. This is red wine. I think we're using Cabernet vinegar today.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 ounces of extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah. So this is what we're going to start with. This is how we're going to combine all of this, blend it all together. It's going to almost make a paste considering how many blueberries we have in here. And we're going to rub this into the steak there's a lot of acid in here. It's going to do a lot of really good things. So Shawn's going to blend that. It's going to get loud for a moment. Not too bad. Perfect. Now we're using a stick blender. I don't know if you can see it in the video currently, but it's also called an emulsion blender. We really recommend you guys get one of these. It is one of the best tools you can have in the kitchen. It saves you a lot of trouble if you are trying to blend something in small quantities and you don't want to use a blender. Those things are amazing.
So you can't quite see, but it's a nice purpley paste, almost a yogurt smoothie consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just kind of put some of that on our steak. Marinate it in, rub it, make sure you work it into your meat, massage it, get both sides. If you're going to do it to one side, you got to do it to the other. It goes for seasoning as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll let that kind of rest in the fridge for what, 45 minutes to an hour?
Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour is pretty decent. So what we've got going on in our marinade, we not only have a lot of flavor components, but we also have a lot of acid. Mm-hmm. And we've kind of talked to you guys about this before, but acid is really good when we're starting to tenderize meat. It starts to denature the proteins, which then creates a really tender product. So highly recommend you guys use an acidic marinade if you're looking for it. If we leave it too long though, it actually starts to pull all of the moisture out of the meat and you'll end up with a dry steak.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we cook the steak, since it's a flank steak, you also want to make sure that you are cooking the steak a little bit past medium. It's not like a filet or a ribeye or a strip steak that you're wanting to just kind of melt the collagen and get all the juiciness. You actually have to break down some of the actual tissues. So we have a nice medium steak here that we've already grilled and marinated. Mm-hmm. So anyway, if you don't cook it to that point, it will be tough and chewy. So you gotta at least get it to medium.
Exactly. And then while your steak is in the refrigerator, you can start to prep all of your other ingredients. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to make the dressing. And we have actually 2 opportunities to learn about emulsifiers today. So the first emulsifier that we are going to use is honey. Honey helps things stick together. Our vinegar and our oil, it actually creates a bond between the two. The more we whisk this, the more we break down those particles. The particles of the vinegar break down and get really small, and then the honey coats it. And then the oil breaks down as well, and it coats it as well, so it keeps them from separating. So if you think of like an oil and vinegar dressing and how they kind of separate and the oil floats to the top, this is going to help your dressing stay together longer. Because it's not permanent, but it'll help. All right, so I have a tablespoon of honey. It's going to go into my bowl. You can also use your blender for this. I like to do it by hand, just personal preference. All right, so I've got my honey. I have my white wine vinegar. I think we're actually using a champagne vinegar today. So this is the white part of our red, white, and blue. Okay, and then I have a little bit of orange juice. This is gonna add a different flavor component, and it's another acid base for my vinaigrette. So I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna get these mixing. Okay, once my honey has kind of gone all the way down into my vinegar and everything is just like mixed well, then I'm gonna start to add my oil. So again, got this nice and mixed. I wanna make sure that my emulsifier, that honey, is really, really well mixed in there. And Shawn's gonna add our oil, and it needs to be a little bit at a time. So a tiny drizzle, and I'm gonna whisk really fast to help those particles break down and help my emulsifier work.
And why do we do just a little bit at a time, Whitney?
If I add everything together, it's going to be really difficult for the particles or the oil molecules to separate. They're all gonna stay together. Again, if I'm doing this in a blender, it's gonna be a little bit easier, but I still wanna add a little bit at a time. Again.
I don't know if you guys can see it in the video, but there's a nice little steady stream every few drips, every so often. You really just wanna keep a nice, steady, thin stream. If you have a squeeze ball or something like that, that works great as well. If you have a blender, if you want to drizzle from higher up, that helps a nice small stream as well, and make sure you don't get it all wrong.
So again, this small stream is going to help me to blend the oil into the vinegar and honey mixture. Again, breaking those particles down, helping the honey coat everything, and not overwhelming my emulsifier.
If you're actually doing this by hand, you can notice if you add the oil too fast, it'll already start to look separated and broken. If you add it too fast, just slow down, let the whisk catch up, and then you can go back into it.
And something, if you know, you'll notice you're doing it right if your dressing starts to thicken. So if anybody's ever made mayonnaise by hand, I don't know if any of you have.
I have.
Yeah, me too. That is the #1 indicator that you're doing it properly. If it stays super watery, you're not getting a good emulsification. All right. So I'm gonna make this just a little bit longer, but if you can see, it's almost there. I need to do a little bit more whisking, but it's all one, yes. It is all one product now. It's not going to be separated. Now if I let this sit in the fridge for a while, yes, it's going to separate. So this is what we call a temporary emulsification. It's very exciting. At this point I would add a little bit of salt and pepper. Get it to, the salt is actually a flavor enhancer. The pepper is an additive as far as flavor is concerned. So I'm gonna get this tasting the way I like it. Now our steak has been in the fridge. It's all doing its special work with the with the acid. It's nice and flavorful now. A little salt and pepper on that as well. Again, we want to have salt to enhance all of the flavors that are already there. A little pepper. I like black pepper, fresh cracked black pepper, or green peppercorns are great too. Again, those are an added flavor. Then we're going to grill it, and then we're going to start to assemble our beautiful red, white, and blue arugula salad. Okay, so we've got some arugula here. Again, all these recipes are going to be on our Instagram page for you guys. And it's got all of the measurements that you need as well as the method. And if you ever need to revisit our video, we can kind of show you what to do. So, Shawn here has put some of the dressing on our arugula. We want to make sure that we do this as close to service time as possible. Greens are very tender. They're very susceptible to the acid breaking down the cell structure of the greens, and they will begin to get kind of mushy and black, and they will not be as light and crisp and fresh as we want them to be.
Another little tip I like to do when I'm mixing a salad is I always like to add my dressing to the outside of the salad along the bowl as opposed to dumping it straight onto the greens. It just helps you get a nice little more even coat, realize how much you need, that way you're not overdressing the salad, it doesn't wilt too much and you don't bruise it.
And again, making a large portion of this dressing, you can keep whatever you don't use in the fridge, use it at a later time, and then you can kind of customize it to the amount of dressing you like. Some people like more, some people like less, it's up to you. Perfect. So we're getting a beautiful, beautiful arugula salad here. We've got some blue cheese to go with our white wine vinaigrette, which is then going to go with our red onions. That is our red, white, and blue. So blue cheese. Feel free to mix this in however you'd like. You can put it on top for garnish. You can mix it in with your dressing if you wanted to. As long as that flavor profile is there, it mixes really well with the red onion, the peppery arugula, and the nice bright onions.
I just love the pungent blue cheese with the acid from the red wine vinegar. It's a nice, happy.
It is. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful flavor profile.
And we have our meat. So before you slice your meat, you always want to give it roughly 10 minutes to rest after you grill it. We've kind of touched on this before. When you cook a protein, all of the juices start to expand back out to the edge. We want to get them to nice and relax back into the meat. That way when we cut it, all the juices don't run out. They actually stay in the meat, stays juicy and flavorful.
So as you can see, we've got a really nice presentation going here. You can do this in a large portion, or you can do this plated per guest. It's up to you on how you'd like to do it. Wonderful.
It's tough to do away from you.
It is. So Shawn has sliced this, fanned it out, and you can really see the temperature of the meat along with our presentation on the arugula salad itself. All right, we're going to set this off to the side and move on to our next recipe for you. All right, so our next recipe is going to be kind of a healthy play on a potato salad. So instead of potatoes, we are going to use some blistered cauliflower. All right. So again, the recipe is on the Instagram page. We took a head of cauliflower, cut it off of the stalk, little olive oil, salt, and pepper, and in the oven at 375 for about 12 to 15 minutes. It doesn't take too long, but you really want to get some good caramelization on the cauliflower itself. That also provides a lot of flavor. It cooks it down so that it's not, you don't get that raw cauliflower taste. And it makes the flavors really dynamic. It starts to kind of break down the starches and cook the sugars. It's quite nice.
Absolutely.
All right, so once that has come out of the oven, we're going to let the temperature come down. We want it to be room temperature. It doesn't necessarily have to be cold, but room temperature at least, please. Otherwise, you're going to start cooking all of the other ingredients, and it's not going to be as appetizing. So again, blistered cauliflower into the bowl. We have cherry tomatoes that we cut in half. We get heirloom tomatoes, so there are a bunch of different colors in there. We have red, this like fun red-green color, orange, and yellow. Okay, those are going to go in with our cauliflower.
And what does an heirloom vegetable mean?
So heirloom vegetables are really unique. There's a bunch of different kinds. I mean, I love heirloom tomatoes. There's a bunch of different there's just a bunch of different varieties, and it's kind of what vegetables used to be before they started to change and evolve in the world. Things get, spliced and changed and genetically modified. And so heirloom tomatoes are kind of what they were before the world decided to change them.
So they'll actually save the seeds from each year's harvest, categorize them, catalog them, and then distribute them for the next year's season. So.
And they're really special. And heirloom tomatoes are actually really cool. If you get a variety that you like at the grocery store, save the seeds, dry them out, and you can actually start growing your own heirloom plants.
Usually organic seeds are the ones that are going to grow. Heirloom seeds are usually the organic ones, so it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and then you end up with wonderful plants that are going to produce a lot of beautiful fruit for you.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
We have celery.
All right, celery is in. And we have green onions. We're just going to sprinkle those in there as well. Again, that's going to provide that bright, fresh onion flavor. We also have some toasted pumpkin seeds that we're going to use for garnish when we're finished. You can also use, if you wanted to add a cheese component to this, I would recommend some fresh Parmesan. It would be also really nice. But we have cheese in our main dish, so we don't necessarily need it at this time. All right, so we've got all of our ingredients mixed. now we have to make our dressing. So again, we're going to go into the second time that we get to emulsify today. And we are going to be making a honey and grainy mustard vinaigrette to go with this. A lot of bound salads will be mayonnaise based. I don't personally love them that way, but that's just me. There's other things you can use as dressings. We can use Greek yogurt. We were actually just talking about this yesterday. Greek yogurt. You can use sour cream. You can use just a little drizzle of olive oil if you want it light, a little lemon. I like the flavor components of an emulsified dressing personally because you get a little bit more balanced flavor. It's not quite so concentrated. Okay, so I have my grainy mustard and my honey in the bottom of the bowl. I am going to start to whisk and get, again, my emulsifier. I want these two to blend before I add my vinegar. And it's just going to make life a little easier.
Basically making honey mustard.
You're making a honey mustard vinaigrette. Yep. Okay. So my vinegar is in. We're going to get that well mixed again. For thinking of breaking all of those particles of the vinegar down, kind of separating those, getting them coated in the honey and the mustard. And then we're going to slowly add in our oil.
Stream.
That's a good stream.
Is there a general ratio or rule of thumb for vinaigrettes that you like to use for vinegar to oil?
Typically, I use a 3-to-1, 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. That's going to give you the best flavor balance. It's not going to be overly vinegary. It's not going to be overly oily. And then olive oil is another one that we have to kind of keep an eye on, because if you're using a true, strong, good quality extra virgin olive oil, it's going to have its own flavor components. So you need to make sure if you don't really like that super strong flavor profile, use a blend. We use blends in our kitchen for dressings a lot of times, just because that olive oil flavor can be kind of overwhelming. But it can also bring a lot of brightness to a dish. I like really, really, really good quality olive oil that's got kind of a lemon component to it. That's kind of my favorite. All right, so if you can see, I'm gonna tip the bowl. We have a really good emulsification here. Everything is well blended. It's nice and thick, and it's not separated or watery or sloshing around in the bowl. At this point again, salt and pepper. Salt enhances, pepper adds. And then we're going to drizzle this over our cauliflower tomato mixture. There we go. I'm going to have you mix that for me, if you will. Thank you.
The mustard actually smells really good with the cauliflower, the roasted cauliflower smell.
Beautiful. And then sprinkle over the top your toasted pumpkin seeds. Again, this is going to add texture as well as flavor. Toasted seeds, and they're great. Yeah. And again, if I wanted to take this up a notch, I could add a little shredded Parmesan or shaved Parm. But that's what we're going to have that look like. And this is our play on a potato salad. Yes. All right. And the last thing that we have for you guys today are some fruit skewers. And there's a lot you can do with these. We're going relatively basic today. We've got some marshmallows, some pound cake, pineapple, and strawberries. But again, if you wanted to do, you could really do anything with this. You could do chunks of brownie or Rice Krispie treat or a bunch of different kinds of fruit. Or I was actually thinking of one earlier. We make a fruit salad here in the lodge that everybody loves of watermelons, grapes, and mint. And it's amazing. That could be its own fruit skewer. You could make a mint syrup and watermelon skewers, watermelon and grapes, and alternate them. Drizzle it with a little bit of the mint syrup, and you'd have yourself a wonderful fruit skewer. So we've got a couple of these already made for you guys to see. And we're working with melted white chocolate, so it gets a little finicky. But we've got our strawberries, pineapple, marshmallows. If you wanted to toast these a little bit and then cool them down, you could do that as well. And then our pound cake. We've also got some, there you can fit that up, some chopped toasted pistachios, and we've got white chocolate. So again, assemble these however you'd like. We've got a couple of examples here for you. But again, drizzle it with the white chocolate, and while the white chocolate is still warm, sprinkle it with your chopped nuts, and it'll be really delicious because then that'll kind of adhere to your skewer and give you some texture and some flavor components.
Awesome.
And we can go unhealthy with this if we wanted to, right?
Absolutely, we could. You could put candies, you can put all sorts of stuff. Like you said, brownies.
Yeah, you could do brownies, marshmallows, chocolate, and Pop Rocks, and you'd have little fireworks skewers. So the possibilities are endless. But again, we're going to have these recipes on the Instagram page for you guys. Again, if you have any questions about anything that we made today, just feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to answer any questions for you. But again, these are just 3 options for you for your 4th of July weekend.
All right, well.
I thought Ryan was here. Let me see if he's still around.
We were going to do a little word association with one of the therapists, but he may have disappeared.
He may have disappeared.
We're going to go track him down real quick.
All right, I have a couple of people coming down. They wanted to check some things out.
Oh,
Hi,
hello, guys.
Welcome.
Hey.
Come into
Oh my
our
gosh,
studio.
this looks
a little
amazing.
bit
Come
more.
on in. Yeah, everybody's almost in the frame.
Oh.
Say hello to everyone. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm the psychometrist here, and
I'm Dr. Ryan Brzezicki. I'm a psychologist.
that's it.
I have a long title.
So what do we have here?
All right, so
Beautiful.
yeah, so I'm gonna move this off to the side. We can move our dishes to the front, and then we're gonna do a little word association with you guys, and you're gonna earn a snack.
All
Does
right.
that sound good? Okay.
Okay.
So we usually end every week with just some fun word association. I'm going to give you 5 words, and you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
No
Sound
pressure.
good?
What if I say
And
something?
you guys can trade off who goes first. Just
Yeah.
blurt it out. Whoever
You go
blurts out, whoever says something first.
You're first.
All right.
All right, Shawn, do you want to tell? You want to go
All
first?
right. The first word is grill.
Chicken.
And then I go off of that?
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Oh, you
mine.
grill? You do grill?
The hot dog.
Hot dog and chicken. All right.
Perfect.
The next one is fireworks.
Watermelon.
4th of July.
Perfect. Okay.
The next one. What's the next one? I forget the words now.
That's okay. We're going to go with salad.
Berries.
Crouton.
Ooh, okay. All right. I like that. Vegetables.
Eggplant.
Squash? Is squash a vegetable? I'm not sure.
Seeds are on the inside.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a fruit, but we'll count it as a
Yeah.
vegetable.
All right.
It's technically gourd, but we're
Yeah.
not going to get into it too much. Okay, your last one is healthy.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the first thing I thought of.
I was thinking salad.
Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right,
That's
so
fun.
you guys hit
Stressful.
lots of really. It's fun. Isn't
It is very
kind of
fun.
stresses you out, gets the heart rate going, but it's a lot of fun. All right, so if you guys would do me a favor and
Yes.
taste one of these items, we have a couple of spoons sitting off to the side. Sorry, we didn't grab any forks. Clean spoons are right there. Just test one of our dishes, and thank you guys so much for being a part of it.
Thank
We
you
really
guys. This looks
appreciate you.
amazing. All right. Can I
Great.
dive
Yeah,
into this?
absolutely.
Yes.
Sneak
Of
out of
course
the
you
way.
may.
Sounds good. Okay. I feel a lot of pressure here.
Everybody's watching you eat, don't worry.
Don't mess it up. Don't drop it.
Mm. What? Is that cake or
Mhm.
oh my?
All right, I'll
She
try
likes
it.
the cake.
Good,
I like
perfect.
the fruit. I like the
And it's
drizzle.
pretty healthy-ish,
Is that
right?
pistachio on top?
Mhm.
It is.
Mm. That's great.
And this is our take on a potato salad, but we use blistered cauliflower.
It's a
Making
healthy
sure I got
roasted
some-
vegetable salad.
Making sure I had some cauliflower on there. Mmm.
Does it compete with the
Good.
potato salad? Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
Pretty good.
Oh man.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for being part of our
Thank
Wellness
you.
Wednesday.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, and we
Absolutely.
appreciate you all here at the lodge, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.